At the age of 46, Ronnie O'Sullivan at the age of 17. Both finalists tonight are in their 30s. So what is the perfect age to dominate the game of snooker?
Steve Davis, United Kingdom champion.
Yes.
It's wonderful that you can have longevity in snooker. It's not that physical a sport. You can have a fantastic career because of that.
Ian Doyle, who managed me, when I retired when I was 50, he said, "Well, play for one more season." And then you've played in the 70s, 80s, 90s and into the noughties.
A lot of the young boys coming on the tour now are the ages of my kids. It does make you feel a little bit old, yeah.
When I see some young kid, it sort of reminds me of myself, I think, when I first came on the scene.
Well, Stephen taking this on.
And it's good to see the contrast.
The perfect age for a snooker player. It's very difficult to put a number on it.
When I turned professional, the two greatest players in the game at the time were Ray Reid and John Spencer. They played their best snooker in their early 40s. It's the perfect age for a snooker player because they've got so much experience.
I can win when I'm not playing at my best, where years ago I don't think that was the case. Growing older, you get a lot more mature about the game, a lot more streetwise, knowing the table, knowing the shots a lot more.
You get more battle scars when you're older. Some of the young kids, especially some of the young Chinese kids, some of the risky shots that they take on, we know how sore it is to lose.
Fearless, I had no concept of any safety game or any tactical awareness. I just wanted to pot every ball I could see. It lost me probably more matches than I won. The late great Willie Thorne used to say about my game, you know, professionals shouldn't go for those shots.
Victory at 10 frames to 8, and the sportsmanlike Willie Thorne applauds 17-year-old Stephen Hendry.
You watch someone like Judd Trump when he first came on the scene, going for everything. And now he refuses shots.
Patience and the all-round game, my safety play is a lot better than it was back then, and even my scoring is probably better. So I think if I play myself now, it would be 6-1, I reckon. Maybe around 35, I think 36 probably be the peak of my powers.
I think maybe when you get into your mid-40s, the eyes can start to go a little bit, which that might be happening with me, but yeah, I'd maybe say like mid-30s, late 30s, I'd maybe say that would be the peak.
Early 30s, I would say. I think you're seeing Judd Trump coming into his own around that age.
Look at the top spin he got on that.
I think Mark Selby did, you know, he dominated for about 5 years around that sort of age group. And obviously Neil Robertson.
In the 90s and early 2000s, it seemed that when players got to 30, then they started to like fall away from the game. Now, though, I think that, you know, you look at Mark Williams, John Higgins, and and Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie's just won his 6th world title at 44. Snooker players are learning from a lot of other sports. The better you treat your body over a long period of time, then you're going to get really good results. I probably think Ronnie would be the benchmark for all that.
There's not too many people who are seriously overweight going to win a world championship. People who are there and doing well in it look after themselves.
Steve Davis has now won the United Kingdom Championship 6 times.
Somewhere in your 30s, you should hit peak. If you haven't done anything in the game by the age of mid-30s, you've got to start thinking, you know, am I ever going to do anything? If you were a freak of nature, like Ronnie seems to be, maybe you could play your best snooker, perhaps just into your 50s. I think we were blessed with an unbelievable year in '92. To have Williams, Higgins and O'Sullivan come in that year as juniors have just been something that's exceptional. And they've just dragged the game along.
This young man is not 18 yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight belongs to 17-year-old Ronnie O'Sullivan.
They're still playing to a very high standard because they're so special players. I don't think it's a common theme that when you get to your mid to late 40s, that's when you're going to play your best snooker.
Mark Williams, he was going to give up 4 years ago, but he's now back in the big time.
Me and Stephen Hendry more or less blew up at the age of 40.
I wasn't applying myself on the practice table the way I used to. Turning pro at 16, I was by far the youngest. I was straight back to bed early and up early for my 6 hours practice.
I was doing 7 hours practice every day. I looked like Casper the Ghost. I mean, I was that white I never saw sunshine. My children came along and I changed completely. When my boy came, I was unbelievably besotted. So I decided taking him to the park and feeding the ducks was a bit more important than putting the hours in. The longer you're in the game, I think it's harder. The experience just tells you that it hurts if you hit the ground. And if you hit the ground too many times, you start to be frightened of hitting the ground. That's why we're all desperate to watch Stephen Hendry come back, because he's got to go through the mill. And if he's not prepared to go through the mill, he's got no chance.
I need to sort of lower everyone's expectations about it, and people are saying it's the worst comeback ever because I still haven't picked my cue up yet. I suppose if someone said, have you got any goals, it's to play the Crucible again.
The perfect age for a snooker player can depend upon the individual. That's the biggest cop-out you're going to get. I think anywhere from 20 to possibly 40. You've just got to be good.
Hope you enjoyed that. Some wonderful memories and some incredible photographs of these two and Stephen and so many of the stars that we all grew up with as well. Absolutely wonderful. I can sit and watch that all day long as well. But we'll do the serious stuff first. Interesting what you said, that if you're in your 30s and you haven't won a major tournament, you have to question whether you'll ever do it.
Yeah, that's the worry. I mean, I think you have to be more patient these days because there's so many good players. But somewhere down the line, you've got to sort of ask yourself that question. How long do I have to go on for before bashing your head against that wall? But yeah, it's possible. It does happen, but it's getting more and more unlikely the older you get.
And you make a great point as well about fitness off the table, because so many of these guys as well, they look after themselves. They're in the gym, aren't they? Judge in the gym.
Yeah, the flat bellies are winning, that's for sure. That's what you need to be. I mean, the lads are taking it totally serious in every department. I mean, Judd's routine is absolutely incredible. The amount of time he spends in the gym and in the practice table. You know, it's the way forward. For any of the youngsters coming forward, this is what Judd's doing. He's making the sacrifices, and that's why he's winning. Allied to his talents, obviously, but that's why he's winning as well as he is.
Yeah, and the fun stuff as well, seeing Stephen Hendry, he actually watched that go out with us in the studio, and looking at him looking like some sort of young film star, he sat today looking like as if he's just come out of New Kids on the Block or something, with a baseball cap.
I know. For once, I actually agree with him as well. It is the worst comeback in the history of sport.
Do you know what would be lovely? Okay, if Stephen comes back and he's got to commit. Obviously, you know, he's got to dedicate. You can't really play at it. The same applies to Ken Doherty and Jimmy White. If they can get a run, they've got the talent. They're the most talented players we've seen in the game, amongst the lot. If they get a run in the World Championship, as it sits, it's probably 3 matches they have to play. It's possible, and wouldn't it be wonderful to see at least one of those back at the Crucible for one last hurrah, maybe?
Listen, we're giving him a bit of stick because he's our pal and everything. I'd love to see him playing there.
Yeah.
I really would, honestly.
It would be amazing.
It'd be great.
And just one final thing, John. We saw a picture of you there with your lovely family as well.
Yeah.
Family can play its part as well in terms of, you know, when you start having children as well, I suppose that is difficult sometimes to manage the practice and then looking after the family too.
Yeah, I mean, I still won tournaments after they came and everything, but it's never quite the same. I mean, being 6,000 miles away and not seeing your kids growing up and stuff at times, I just found a bit too much at times. So, listen, I had a fantastic career. I think I got the life balance right. I don't know why I did, because my kids just give me stick constantly these days, but and I love the bones of them. But it was just one of those things that happened at the time. I still practiced, still won tournaments, but didn't quite have the same eye of the tiger.
And can I just say, as a young boy, I used to enjoy watching you play. Those pictures brought it back. I was really young when I was watching you winning World Championships.
Well, you were doing well till you mentioned that a little bit.